What could you do to protect your pets if you're sick or injured? My product, Save My Pet ID tag, helps you ensure that your beloved pets are safe and well cared for, even when life isn't what you expect.
Hey, going on the same walk at the same time on the same route, boring. What's on the horizon for our dogs, cats, and other companion animals? Well, we're going to crystal ball a little bit with somebody who knows this. She is a top professional pet sitter. She runs her own business, and she is here to school us in many, many good ways and introduce a little talk about high tech for pets. Please welcome to the show the founder of Attaboy Animal Care. She is Amber Van Denzen. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Hey, Arden, how's it going today?
Hey, pet pals, I got to tell you, I got motivated recently because I caught Amber's presentation about top pet trends happening in the world. She was speaking at the recent NAPS conference in Savannah, Georgia. Now, Amber, I always laugh when I say NAPS. You weren't sleeping on stage. What really does NAPS stand for?
National Association of Professional Pet Sitters, who's the only leading nonprofit organization for professional pet sitters in the United States. Mm-hmm.
All right. So NAPPS, and everybody go to, is it petsitters.org, I believe?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Org. Mm-hmm.
But I love the name of your business, Attaboy. What about the girls?
I know, it's so funny because I've heard that for the past 10 years that I started this business. And when I started the business and created the name, of course, I wanted it to be something that mattered to me and something that intrigued our audience. And of course, Attaboy is an iconic phrase that's been used for generations. And of course, my own dad used that commonly as well, intermingled with Attagirl, but Attaboy rolled off the tongue a little bit more. And then when we put the acronym of ABAC, Attaboy Animal Care, it flowed a lot easier and we just really enjoy it. So that is why. But yes, Attagirls are out there too.
Well, in fairness, people, when there's a group of people, will say, hey, you guys.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Neutral for us.
So you're based in Florida. Tell everybody where Attaboy Animal Care is.
Yep, we are located in Lakeland, Florida, which is right in the center of the state, right between Tampa and Orlando, which most people know because of Disneyland areas. Yep, exactly. The Disney World, rather. So, exactly.
And everybody, wait till you hear a little bit about Amber. You have a lot of credentials after your name. You have been a emergency veterinary technician. And didn't you get a bachelor's in what?
Animal sciences. Yeah, absolutely. So I started my animal career in high school. A local neighbor took a chance on me and actually let me start mucking animal stalls at their farm. And then it grew to—
Wait a minute, you cleaned animal stalls?
Yeah, I was a horse girl. I grew up in the country and that was my first, I thank my neighbors to this day that are still there that let me muck their horse stalls as like a 12, 13-year-old. And then soon after, the local veterinarian that we used for our own pets let me start shadowing them a few days a week because I was really interested in becoming a veterinarian. And they offered me a gig in their kennel when it became of opportunity. So I again started cleaning more poop as well, which started from the below and then slowly worked my way up the older I got to veterinary assisting. When I graduated high school, veterinary technician. Wow. And then I went to University of Florida because I wanted to pursue a veterinary career. So I initially specialized in pre-veterinary at University of Florida.
Which is an incredible university, by the way.
It is. Go Gators. Yep, exactly. I'd say that I paid them enough to brainwash me to say that for the rest of my life. But then I found out, higher chemistries and I were not friends. Okay, and it was the first time in my life that I realized I had a max point in my brain and I had to accept that. So I kind of pivoted. I went to equine management and I learned about exercise of animals and dietary needs of animals and management of animals on a more specific day-to-day round. And that led me to continuing my path in the animal industry once I graduated. So I went back to the veterinary field temporarily, working as a vet tech to try to figure out what pathway I wanted to take after that.
Tell people a little bit. I have total respect for veterinary technicians. You're on the front line. So what what is the best and the most challenging about being a veterinary technician?
Ooh, I think we all can answer this. If you're from the veterinary industry, I worked in it for 13 years, from general practice to emergency in the latter part in my career. The worst part of it's most people would say it's the euthanasia. And I don't agree with that. I think euthanasia is a gift that we can have. And I really appreciate the fact that we can have that opportunity to end our pet's life in a safe and a smooth
Means
possible
good
process.
death, euthanasia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. But I honestly believe it's the wages and the reciprocating benefits that in the veterinary field are still actively being worked on. It's just not an
That was
industry.
a diplomatic answer.
Yeah, and like we don't get paid enough. Veterinary technicians in the past used to be a 1-on-1 ratio with a veterinarian, and because of that, I think there was more ability to do that. But now most veterinarians have a ratio of 4 to 6 technicians per veterinarian, and so because of that, the wages have been dispersed lower, and they're doing majority of the manual labor. So, and we
So
do
you
everything
knew-
like a normal human nurse does too. So.
You wanted to be your own boss too.
I did. My parents were self-employed almost my whole life.
Really?
And so it was a gear for me to want to be self-employed as well eventually.
What kind of work have your parents been in?
So they worked initially in the restaurant industry, which is one of the hardest industries in the world, I believe. Kudos to all restaurant professionals. And they ended up going into the human insurance industry, actually. So they were self-employed. They worked from home a majority of their time. They raised me beautifully. And so I wanted to do that for my own human kids when I started that route too.
So starting a professional pet sitting business, and it isn't just walking a dog. There is so many aspects to it. You have to know business. You have to know how to hire. You have to keep pace, right? So you landed in this arena, which is growing. But as you know, there's with this job comes much responsibility. I'm not calling you Spider-Man, but what do you think?
Right. No, I totally agree with that. I think one of the hardest parts of entering this industry as a veterinary professional prior is I've seen all the woes and the negative things that can come about when a person hires a non-professional pet sitter or focuses on a friends or family that have the best intentions, but not the experience or knowledge, especially when an emergency arises. And when working in the emergency field of veterinary, a lot of our emergencies did have that scenario come up. And because of that, when I created my business, I really hyper focused on process plans and policies that made sure to decrease those potential worst case scenarios as much as possible, which ends up making us have a lot more policies, expectations on our staff and training than I would call even newbie pet sitter that's starting as a professional, because I've already seen those worst case scenarios.
Give me a few worst case scenarios where a non-competent person was in charge of caring for somebody's pet.
Top 3, I would say, is not realizing. Nope. Top 3 common medical emergencies that you find in pets that are using non-professional pet sitters are failure to see, number 1, a dog that is in a bloat or GDV situation where their stomach is filling up with gases and their stomach can ultimately flip and cause death very soon. Number 2 is a cat that has a urinary blockage and is not typically a male cat and is not urinating effectively or at all, and within hours can cause toxicity to the body and ultimately death. And top 3 is either incorrectly providing medications to the pet or accidentally their human medications becoming the pet's medications now. So AKA they had pills or vitamins in their pockets or purses, they fell out and an accidental poisoning occurred.
Wow. That is perfect. I applaud. I give you pause and applause for that, because our pets don't live in protective bubbles, and pet first aid is really important because you could be that life-saving bridge between the O and the veterinary clinic, and what you do on the scene could make a difference, right?
Yeah, we train our staff on what we call yellow flags, things that could cause potential issues, and then things that definitely could cause issues if the pet was ultimately exposed to them. So we train our staff to find, the common situations of access to human foods that could cause toxicities, access to human medications that are left on the counter that typically the pets don't have issues with or don't try to grab. But when the owner is away, naturally, even in their own environment, the stress is slightly higher. And because of that, I like to say pets tend to become a little naughty and curious when their owners are away and may touch things that they typically wouldn't touch. So your medication that's right on the counter may ultimately become their toy thing and then be exposed to a toxicity.